What? Are we live? Are we live? Let's bring some little light up. Little, just a hair. Just a hair. Oh, that side. Here we go. Greetings, citizens of the planet Earth. My name is Graham Elwood. You are watching the Political Vigilante live chat. Super Chat Sunday. Didn't have time for a smoothie, guys. Just going pure protein. That's all we're doing. Pure vegan protein. Vegatine. Not a real word. Hey! Live streaming control center, everybody. Plugging into it right now. Shelby Hall, how are you doing? Here it is. Live control room. Let me know. Volume good. Video quality good. Let me know. Tuan Otaku. Hello. How are you doing? Are you from Japan? Tuan Otaku? If so, konnichiwa. David Lazarus. Good morning. You got a notification. Awesome. Beautiful day in LA, my brother. Yes, Video Archives it is. Basil Peterson. Namaste, brothers and sisters. Namaste. Oh, you're in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. Oh, right on. I want to go to Vietnam. I hear there's comedy shows to do. So excited to be watching live. Socks and blessings. Hey, guys. Shelby Hall, how is my car? Oh, God. Hey, Marcia. You shaky smoothie freak. Yes. Good on the sound. Here's the update of what happened with my car. So I was supposed to be on Jimmy Dore's live chat yesterday. I was supposed to be at his place by 2, which is, it's a good 45 minutes to an hour from my house. So I went in the morning to plug it in. The city of Santa Monica has like free charging. Plugged it in. The light started blinking, showing that it was charging. I left it. I came back and I had I was doing a Skype interview actually with Amanda Cumming from Actify Chat. Went a little long. So I got to my car a little after 1 and was like, thought it would be all charged, ready to go. So I should have made Jimmy's right at 2. It hadn't been charged. And I was like, oh God. So the interview went a little long, but I was like, I can find a supercharger, a fast charger. So the regular, you can plug it into a regular 120 wall outlet. It'll take like 14 hours. They have 240 volts, or maybe they're 220. I don't know electricity, but then those take like 3 hours to charge. And then they have superchargers, which can charge like an almost dead battery in 25, 30 minutes. So I went to a supercharger, and so the one didn't work. And I was like, man, this is pissing me off. It's making me late. But I'm like, if I hit this supercharger, charge my car just for 10 minutes, I'll get enough miles to get up to Jimmy's. I'll be good. And it said charging error. And I was like, God. So then I drove to another one. And as I was driving to the first one, I texted Jimmy. I was like, dude, I'm running late. The Skype interview went long. I didn't want to bore him with the charging nonsense. And then the second, so that first fast charger, the second attempt didn't work. Then the third charger of the day, another super fast charger, didn't work at all. It said charging error. And at that point, my car was out of juice. It had no more. So then I had to call AAA. And I said explicitly on the phone, hey guys, I have an electric car. Do you guys show up and do you charge electric car batteries? And she's like, yeah, we'll fix your battery. And I said, it's not a regular car battery. So send a tow truck, because if you don't have that, I'm going to need a tow truck. Yeah, no problem. We'll fix your battery. Pickup truck shows up, just the guy to fix your regular battery. I had to pop the hood and show him. Everyone was talking to me like I was an idiot. He's like, yeah, I'll just give you a jump. I said, no, and I popped the hood and he goes, oh. I go, yeah, there's a regular car battery in an electric car, and that just powers the lights and the radio and the windshield wipers and crap like that. Then there's the whole battery that powers the actual car. So he's like, oh, let me call. So then he had to call and get a regular tow truck. So that was another 40 minutes. So then we had to drive all the way to Kia dealership in downtown LA. That took 45 minutes because there's traffic all the time in LA. And I tell the Kia guys at the service station, Yeah, I tried three different things, three different chargers, and they didn't work. And then they plug theirs in and it starts charging immediately. And they're all like, yeah, user error. I'm like, it wasn't user error. I didn't plug it in wrong. I didn't like fucking plug it into my face or the tire and go, it's not working, which was annoying. So everyone thinks I'm an idiot. Yeah, I know Jimmy was like, how can you have car trouble with an electric car? Well, Jimmy, anything mechanical can break. So an electric car is basically a computer with four wheels. So I got to the dealership and I had to sit around there for about 35, 40 minutes to see that it was actually taking the charge. And they found out, oh, you need a software update. This is what technology for cars is now. It's not like, oh, we need to fix your spark plugs because I don't have any of those. We need a software update. But they're like, the guy that does the software isn't until Monday. Do you want to leave your car? And I'm like, well, I need my car. So the charge was working. But they're like, well, you should still come in Monday or Tuesday and get this software update because we're sending that out to everyone who owns an EV. I drove it to the Valley for a birthday party, found a fast charger. That worked. So it wasn't user error. I charged my car again this morning. It's technology, man. I don't know. You know how sometimes like your computer just doesn't work and then it does? Yeah, Jimmy thought I was making it up. I was like, no, dude, why would I lie to you about what am I 15? Ooh, I had car trouble. Whoops. It is it's a Kia Soul EV, not hybrid, totally electric. So it's been fine. It still feels, I don't know. I'm going early on Tuesday morning to get the update put in because the fucking dealership, man. I was there for a routine service where they just change the tires. That's all they do after 7,500 miles. And oh my God, I was there for 4 hours. This was like 2 weeks ago. And they didn't have the update then, of course. So that's the thing with electric cars. It's a completely different thing. You're driving technology. You're not driving an automobile. It's pretty nuts. Chris Foster, you should have borrowed Fred Flintstones. That's an environmentally friendly option. Gugamar had a similar problem with electric injection on a regular BMW motorcycle. Yeah. Yeah, and while I was waiting for AAA, I was watching Jimmy's feed about him going after CNN, which electric cars are way more affordable than you think. There's a lot of rebates and stuff, Bluebell 51. Yeah, I know Jimmy was just fucking around, but I was like, man, come on. Like, you think, why would I want to be on your show? When I'm on his show, it's great. I get more numbers on this show. It's everything. Like, for Dearest G, I'd love to get an electric car, but can't recharge at my apartment building. I'm a teacher, can't afford charging problems like this. That's a valid thing. So I have an apartment. I don't have charging in my building, but in LA, there's charging everywhere. There's a lot of, and there's these regular chargers that, and there's fast charging, like there's charging at the mall. So I go to a movie, I charge it, so it's pretty easy to do without having it. But sometimes it's still a hassle, and I think the city of Santa Monica is starting a program where they're going to subsidize chargers in apartment complexes, so you can put it in there and get reimbursed, or the management company gets reimbursed. I'm going to look into that because this would have mitigated a lot of this problems. Because then when you have charging in your place, it's great. You just wake up every morning, your car's fully juiced, you're good. Tunotaku, have you ever read the books The Fourth Turning by Neil Howe, Mr. Graham? No, sir, I have not, but that sounds good. Shelby Hall, I have a 2013 Camaro right now, and I feel like an asshole. You feel like a fucking American that rocks and rolls, Shelby Hall. That's what you do. You bring that American muscle, because you're not a pussy. But it was cool watching how he was going after CNN. That was really awesome to see. And I called him afterwards, and I was like, when I finally got my car, I guess, fixed, whatever the fuck, I was like, I go, well, it's you're a threat to them now. He goes, which is good. He said, but we were both talking, it's kind of scary. I mean, my little show here is getting demonetized all the time, but they're really going after him because he's cutting into, CNN is going after them because he is cutting into CNN's money, right? That's what big shows like that and Kyle Kalinske and they're Lee Camp, they're taking away CNN's profit because people are bailing on cable and coming to shows like that. So it's cool that he's getting mentioned by them, but it's also like fuck. It's a little, we're living in crazy times, man. And then like Alex Jones and Tucker Carlson and Tommy Lahren we're in agreement with them. And Jimmy and myself, we're all in agreement with them about Syria. Crazy, crazy times. Shelby Hall, I want a little tiny electric car. The Camaro was just post-divorce trying to be a badass or something ridiculous. It's good to see women going through midlife. That's equality. Women getting muscle cars in a midlife crisis, just like men. You go, girl. Yeah. 6,600 people watching Jimmy yesterday. Bluebell 51, it's the second coming of the adpocalypse. Yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy. So I apologize for sort of the constant changing of start times and stuff like that, but I have to go from here up to where the sound mixer for the FNX show is, and he had to switch the schedule around, so I got 5 more Sundays of mixing the show, the sound mix on the show, but all right. Shelby Hall, the CNN attack will backfire if it hasn't already, giving him more attention. Oh, absolutely. It's already backfired. He told me he's getting more subscriptions. Yesterday was his largest audience watching his super chat. 6,600 views, the largest he's ever had. C. Blaine, I think CNN is scared between Trump calling them fake news all the time and they were proved wrong and the progressives going after them. They're fighting what they can. Yeah. And they have to be feeling, look, all these big corrupt institutions are feeling it because more and more people are waking up. So people are cutting their cable. That affects CNN's bottom line, right? People are using less oil. That's just oil. That's why they're keeping the oil prices low because they're making less of it because the whole world is just using less oil and everyone's freaking out about it, which is why they're like, oh, we got to go to war with Syria. You see what I'm saying? They're all of these big greedy corporations that have been bilking everybody. Everyone's calling them out, right? The March for Your Lives is like, wait a minute, the gun lobby is paying this politician and that politician, and these high school kids don't give a shit. They're calling everyone out. They don't give a shit. And so all the big evil corporations' bottom lines are getting affected. So what are they going to do? Since their whole thing is greed and power and manipulation, they're not going to react with in a good way. So what I predict is it's going to get a lot worse in the short run, but in the long run, all of this corruption is going to come crumbling down. Because in the short run, it's going to get bad. They're going to double down on shit like what they're doing with Jimmy and false flags and all this crap. They're going to double down on it. But then more and more people are going to go, what the fuck? Jimmy's numbers went up because they did that. And they didn't even call him for a comment. They just accused him of these things and then let's get his side of it. That's just journalism 101. They didn't even do that. And people are seeing the bullshit now. You know, if Tommy Lahren, bimbo, sorority girl, privileged, white, rich, I'm a Trumper, is like, wow, this Syria war is bullshit. If she's saying that, then people are waking up to it. They did this rocket thing a year ago. They did the Iraq War in 2015 years ago. You know what I mean? They did the first Iraq War in 91. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. So people are bailing on Facebook. You know, it's crazy. Yeah, Shelby Hall. Jake Tapper gets on Twitter acting all self-righteous about addiction and trying to shame jerk. You know, everyone's calling you out on your bullshit. I mean, everyone got together on net neutrality. The NASCAR crew was like, whoa. And progressives were like, whoa, on net neutrality. Everyone's getting called out. There's going to be another recession. It is going to happen. I don't want it to, but it's going to happen. And when it does, then what? What could potentially happen? Everybody starts getting really unified. We've talked about this before. Labor transcends all ethnicity, religion, socioeconomic status, gender. It transcends all of that. And when everyone's having a hard time getting a job because the system is corrupt, I mean, the people voted for Trump, aside from the fringe Nazi group that voted for Trump, but just the Republicans that voted for him because he was an anti-interventionalist. He was like, I'm going to shake things up. That's what they were voting for. And he hasn't done any of that. And they're like, hey, this is bullshit. So, you know, if Alex Jones and Tucker Carlson are holding Trump's feet to the fire, that's good. That's good. Basil Peterson, the gears won't stop till we stop buying stupid shit we don't need. Yeah, absolutely. When I say vote with your dollars, I mean everything. I mean, and, you know, the 3 R's I learned in the 90s, reduce, reuse, recycle. Plastics. I try not to use plastic bottles. I have this and I fill it up with a filter. I have a Brita filter. No, a pure filter. I have a pure filter on my faucet. So I fill this up, right? So there's all these ways we can do little things and that hurts their bottom line. And when you hurt their bottom line, then they'll make a goddamn change. You know? Oops. David Lazarus, thank you for supporting the show. Looks like £3 and 99 pence, or whatever you call it. 99 Mike Pence. 99 shocking the gaze out of people. David Lazarus, thank you for supporting the show. You guys are awesome for supporting the show. Man, I was watching how the super chat money Jimmy was getting. Wow, that was impressive. So that's a great way to support the show. Looks like my car is going to get better. It is driving. I've charged it 3 times now since it died. They've all worked, 3 different types of charging places. I'm still taking it in because there's a software issue. Black Mamba Coffee. Graham, please check out Warren Molsler and hashtag MMT. It's a wake up for all. Wait, what's MMT? I don't know what MMT. I'm sorry. Basil Peterson, the price of bombs that recently dropped on Syria would have replaced lead pipes in Flint. Yeah, it's $165 million total in rockets. That was between all 3 countries. $120 million of that was from the U.S., and that would have fixed the pipes in Flint, Michigan. So people are just getting fed up with it because it's starting to affect everyone's life. And everyone, I keep coming back to this military budget thing. And we need to do that at every turn. Whenever they drop a bomb or do this, go, what was the cost? This is what it could have fixed. And everyone's going to start waking up to that. Redneckonomics. MMT is modern monetary theory. It's pretty interesting stuff. Thank you, Redneckonomics. Stevie, I emailed you about doing a Skype, man. Let me know how your schedule is. Medical marijuana. Haha, real janky funny. Tuan Otaku, journalist Malcolm Harris wrote the book, described the hyper-competitive accelerate capital society in the 21st century that tore apart the moral universe of America. Wow. That's a great book and very accurate. Don't forget, guys, a great way to support the show is you can hit the dollar icon and then I'll answer your question. Also, if you go to the Patreon, patreon.com/Graham Elwood, you get bonus content now that the FNX show is starting to slow down. I'm done shooting. I just have 5 more episodes to put on the air. It's a great way to support the show. And of course, you can go to my P.O. box and just, some people don't like some people don't like doing anything digitally or being tracked or whatever. So, Stable Genius Progressive, don't insult the people who voted for Trump because they look the other way on the racist, sexist, horrible shit he stood for because their jobs. And we're supposed to respect them? No, I'm not saying, look, I'm not saying excuse them. Trump's an awful dude who's a racist and a sexist and all that crap. I don't know how anyone could vote for him. But I understand the thinking of, he just says crazy stuff, like guys making a joke in a bar or whatever, but he's going to really shake it up. I understand the disenfranchised people that voted for him and thought he was, I get where that thinking comes from. I heard him talk for 60 seconds and I'm like, no way, never in a million years. But also, because if you just then say, all Trumpers are dumb and racist, then what we need, then you're just throwing them all under one category, just like they do with liberals. And so many of them haven't had the jobs and the education. So if we're going to excuse someone, let's say, who lived in an inner city because they haven't had access, then we need to make that for everybody. This country has been designed to keep us divided and uninformed and fighting. And I think also, too, if you want to affect real change, if you give like Trump supporters, you show them, like many of them would have voted for Bernie Sanders. You start giving them jobs and college education and Medicare for all. Guess what? They'll start to hear you on racism and diversity and wait a minute, that doesn't. They'll be more willing to listen. They'll be more, and that's what's happening. Anyway. Kevin Martinez, modern monetary theory is an intellectual's easy way out of talking about the petrodollar. Good point. FWD all day. Exactly, Graham. And every time someone is incarcerated, it should be required that the court tell the people the exact cost of the incarceration. Stable Genius Progressive. People on the left. Oh, I lost that one. Oh, I beg your pardon. Thank you for supporting the show. Have you read any Michael Parenti? No, I have not. I have not read any Michael Parenti. What are some of the books that Michael Parenti has written, and what are they about? Vermont Bread Smith. Hello, Graham. Where are we at here? All right. Stable Genius Progressive. I hear you, Graham, that people were disenfranchised by the system. I just don't understand how the response is, hey, this orange billionaire megalomaniac. Yeah, I look. Yeah, I don't know how someone could have heard him talk and vote. I get all that. I'm just saying to write them all off is not a good solution. Basil Peterson, thank you for supporting the show. Trump is a symptom of neoliberalism and capitalism. The system is not broken. It is working the way it is designed. We need a new system. Great point. Yeah, when people get all mad at Trump was the most beatable candidate I've ever seen in my life. And yet the neoliberalism that allows this super pro-war, unregulated capitalist in Hillary Clinton become the nomination. She cheated. The Democrats let him happen. So I know so many people that voted either for Trump or Gary Johnson, and even Jill Stein, who would have voted for Bernie Sanders. For sure. Hillary Clinton, if you take away California, in 49 of 50 states, it was decided by less than 500,000 votes. So it shows you that Trump, he barely won. He barely won. And so and capitalism, as Basil Peterson says, is allowing this to happen. Capitalism is designed to just let this guy get in there. I mean, look, we've talked about before, Obama had all these Goldman Sachs and Citibank people. They've all deregulated stuff, every president prior to Trump. They've all pushed the war machine in one form or another. Obama was like, we're going to get the troops off the ground, but in Iraq and Afghanistan, but we're going to expand this endless drone striking special op wars to 7, 8 countries. So, hold on, I know Shelby Hall had something here. So Basil Peterson, thank you for supporting the show. Shelby Hall, thank you for supporting the show. Trump's rewriting Native American history this weekend. They aren't their own nation now. He hates them because their casinos killed his business. Oh, God. Trump is such an asshole. He's going after Native Americans. I want to look this up a little bit. I'm sure what... Native... Yeah, the Cone Talkers. Yeah, he's been disrespecting Native Americans. Shelby, thank you for supporting the show. And also, so the Bears Ears that he's going after because he wants to get, fracking in there and drilling and whatever else, which is an insult. That's why there's the Ute Pack, which is a bunch of tribes in the Utah area that have gotten together. So if you go to utepack.org and donate, they're a group that is a lobbying organization that is trying to protect Bears Ears. So that's a great way to go against this shit that Trump is saying about Native Americans because he's a jackass. Yeah, he's just all about casinos and casinos killed my business. They're not real countries now. Yeah, but they are their own nation technically, but they have so little rights. If a non-native commits a crime on an Indian reservation, the tribal police can't go after, arrest, or prosecute this person. They have to get an FBI, and they'll usually have one FBI agent in the region or something crazy like that. So, thank you, Shelby Hall. Marcia Smith, I gotta go over to Mom, so here's a little love from me. Recovery from the fire here continues. Marcia, thank you for coming here and supporting the show. I know you're going through a lot. You had a home fire. Sounds like last time the insurance company's actually doing their job, which is good. So thank you for coming over here and supporting the show. Tell Mom we all said hello. A bunch of progressives say hi, Marcia Smith's mom. And I hope you get your house rebuilt and back on its feet as soon as possible. Thanks a lot. What else do we got here? David Wint, thank you for supporting the show. Cynthia Nixon has pledged to switch to 100% renewables by 2050, end all FF infrastructure, and make corporate polluters pay. Thoughts? Well, it's these kind of libtard hippies that are ruining America. No, I think... David, thank you for supporting the show. I'm reading up on what Cynthia Nixon is doing, and I'm really impressed. She is, when I was like, oh, is she just going to be another, New York, Hollywood, neoliberal celebrity? It's just no, she pays close attention, and she's seeing, she wants teachers' rights, she wants workers' rights, she wants renters' rights because developers are taking over New York and all the boroughs and driving people out, and the Democratic Party is letting it happen, and she's calling them out. I think switching to 100% renewables by 2050 is very, very realistic. I think you could do it sooner. I think you could do it by 2030, quite honestly, or 2035. It's, I think this is the upside of Trump getting into office, is people realizing there's still some people out there, Democrats and Democrat apologists, and we don't need purity tests, but I think more and more people are realizing this lesser of two evils thing is why we're here. It's why we're here. So I applaud that she's running, because New York has had so many just corporate Democrats in there. And there's a lot of actual progressives running. I think it's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is running, and she just got ballots to be, she got enough signatures rather to go on the ballot. And the Democratic Party was skewered all of her. They had a bunch of lawyers look over her signatures to make sure they were trying to discount her. So David Wint, I think what she's doing great. End all fossil fuel infrastructure and make corporate polluters pay. Yeah. I mean, this is Jill Stein, Green Party, Green New Deal. And Cynthia Nixon's trying to run it. And it's like, these so-called liberals in New York and LA and California, like, if you're real liberals, then you need to be, it's like, I don't even want to call myself that anymore, because too many of them are just pro-corporate, all this stuff. So, David Wint, thanks for supporting the show. And from what I'm reading thus far on Cynthia Nixon, I support what she's doing. So, and fining corporate polluters is fantastic. So thanks for supporting the show. Shelby Hall, muscle car driver. I used to own a Mustang. True North from John I. from TYT is on Tumblr and is an amazing documentary on the Arctic, worth the watch. That's cool. Yeah, we need to pay more attention to the Arctic. It's really as they say, the canary in the coal mine for the environment, what's happening in the Arctic, and it's insane. There's also, like, Dubai is just cutting off chunks of icebergs and floating them just because they're such rich jackasses and they just want to show how rich they are. It's pretty preposterous. So Shelby Hall, thank you for recommending True North, from John I. from TYT. And it's an amazing documentary on the Arctic, True North. I will watch that. Shelby Hall, thank you for doing that. Jeremy Chase, Hitler was produced in the space of a depressed economy. It's going to get worse if something doesn't change. Yeah, that's absolutely true. I beg you, Michael Peretti, where are we at? Bob Swanick, thank you for supporting the show. Red Economics, Cynthia Nixon said she'd run with Jesse Ventura if he runs in 2020. All right. Bob Swanick, Cynthia Nixon for governor. The revolution starts now. I beg your pardon. Do you repost these live feeds? Yes. So YouTube automatically archives these once it's over. It lives on my YouTube channel just like any other video. So you can go back and watch these super chats from as far back as I've been doing them. I've been doing them for a year now. Basil Peterson. Where is it? I live in upstate New York in the Finger Lake side of Ithaca. 10 miles from here is Lake. It wasn't for New York City. Everybody would be. Yeah. All right. There's one we're going to hide. Jesse Ventura might have some health issues, which somebody points out FDR had health problems. I'm down with Jesse Ventura would get he would get a lot of conservative and libertarian votes. All right. We got some creep sex trolls. I think we go time out, maybe. There you go. There we go. All right. I beg your pardon. You see Jimmy host Jesse Ventura show? No, I did not see that. Yeah. Bye-bye, troll. Bye-bye, troll. Thank you, troll. I don't... Balthazar. All right, hold on. I'm having some... All my technology. My phone's acting stupid. Balthazar228, thank you for supporting the show. Could court be in sessions over trumped up, unscrupulous charges caused by Russia to conclusions that weren't investigated in Putin context? Wait, what? Is this more of your puns? Could court be in sessions over trumped up, unscrupulous charges caused by Russian to conclusions that weren't investigated in Putin context? Great question, Balthazar228. Are we all going to start doing the puns now? I'm being very serious with you about these pipelined up accusations. I'm sorry, I can't do that. Thank you for supporting the show. So one way to support the show, everybody, just post some jokes. Thank you, Balazar228. Tawan Otaku, I believe the world are in desperate need to return to ancient and Western civilization values right now. Yeah, what we're seeing is capitalism is just completely run amok. Hey, Jenny Lynn, what's up, sexist burn bro? The capitalism has gone so out of control. Here in America, we were having this conversation. I was having this conversation with Amanda coming from Actify Chat about, so we're bred to be consumers. We're bred to be selfish. You know, everything's me, just make money to buy me for my things. I don't care. Buy the new one. I don't care about the environment as long as I got my new iPhone or fancy this or fancy that. And unsustainable isn't even strong enough of a word. It's just collapsing. And people are realizing this. And the corporate state doesn't know what to do other than just keep double down on their corruption and their propaganda. And so you're right. I think we need to go back to, a simpler system where we take care of one another. No one's waking up thinking, like, how can I make things better for everyone else? Everyone's just like, I got to get mine. And it's not just the right, it's the left too. I mean, there's plenty of selfish people on the left, and we got to be thinking about how can we give back and how can we, participate in society in a positive way. And capitalism is just, it's going, they said it was going to eat itself. Jeremy Chase, does Graham know about the DNC lawsuit? Well, what is the current status of it, of the DNC lawsuit? I haven't been that up to date on it recently. But I'd like to know. Um, Shelby Hall, we need the People's Party. We had one early in the 20th century focused on labor. It was literally called the People's Party. Yeah, I think you're right. We need a new party. We need a People's Party. It needs to be labor, or maybe some like hybrid of the Green Party and I know the Green Party has a pretty solid labor platform, but we really need to get behind this as best we can, because and labor, as I've talked about, really transcends all ethnicities, all genders, and everything like that. Balthazar228, thanks for supporting the show. Thoughts on Bombshell, where Comey admitted to having access to deleted email backups. Will Russia bait come back to bite her? Keep it up. Hashtag CNN socks. It's so crazy how this is playing out. So, following, it's hard to to follow all of this Russia stuff because it's trying to see what the end game is, right? Balthazar228. So I think Russia bait will come back to by her. I assume you mean Hillary Clinton, because she concocted this because she didn't want to, because the Podesta email showed how corrupt Russia, excuse me, how corrupt the DNC was. So then the DNC and Hillary, then Julian Assange is a Russian puppet. Everybody loved WikiLeaks when it went after Bush, but when it went after Obama and then Hillary, oh, now they're bad, now they're Russians. So I think it is going to come back to bite her. I think it's all going to implode. I think people are just going to wake up too much to this corruption, and everyone's going to get taken down. That's what it seems like to me. But thank you, Balthazar228. Plantastic Life! Thank you for supporting the show, Dominic. We need a Festivus party, a party for the rest of us. So if you hit the super chat button, I will answer your question or read your joke or pun or play on words. And there's many ways to support the show. Many ways to support the show. Yeah, 8675309. Now we're just doing 80s lyrics. Great. Air Force Max, the DNC and DCCC are funneling money to Hillary Clinton's super PAC. Of course. And for a good time, please call 8675309. It's a hotline, Jeremy Chase's hotline. Basil Peterson, the WikiLeaks part of the suit exposes their hubris and shows that they will never learn. Yeah, that's absolutely true, which is why all they know how to do is, and they've gotten away with it for so long that the idea of like admitting it or changing, they don't even know how to do it. And they're all megalomaniacs. So they don't know. So they're just going to go down in a ball of flames. They're never going to admit fault. They're never going to change, but it's eating them up now. It's coming undone. It's all coming undone. Tuan Otaku from Vietnam. According to Neil Howe, there are 4 cycles in history: the high, the awakening, the unraveling, the crisis. The last crisis was World War II and the Great Depression. Yeah, I agree. That's a good thing. Gungamar. Neoliberals are not leftists. They are corporate libertarians. By definition, a leftist must protect labor over capital. Yeah, absolutely. Chasing chickens. You guys are just... I beg your pardon. In the future, we will see Russiagate as we see WMDs now. Yeah, people are already going, this is ridiculous. You know, it's ridiculous. It's just, yeah. Yes, my Twitter handle is at Graham Elwood. Basil is chasing chickens. I wasn't joking. I don't know what you guys are talking about. All right, where are we at here? Jenny Lynn, thank you for supporting the show. Even if you are a sexist burn bro, I'm sure you have a man bun and you're just contemplating violence against the peace-loving Hillary supporters of this land. What do you think about Reverend Barber's Poor People's Campaign? Do you plan to join upcoming actions? Ooh, happy Sunday. I just heard about this Reverend Barber's Poor People's Campaign. I don't know much about it. If there are actions around me to take, I'm all for that. I think, you know, as I've reported on stories, Jenny Lynn, of like people feeding the homeless and getting fined in like Atlanta and stuff like that. And I'm all for that kind of thing because, as I was saying, what capitalists has bred is selfish and fuck them, fuck the poor. We'll get these homeless, dirty people off the street. And I think we need more people to then take the step forward and say, let's be compassionate. Let's help out fellow human beings who are on tough time. Let's help them out. Let's do that because it could be me. It could be you. And let's show kindness and compassion, which goes against capitalism. Capitalism is you work for the corporate state and they control you and you're a form of indentured servant in one form or another. As was just posted by Shelby Hall, 25% of homeless are vets. So these are people that serve this country, and there are people out there, and the degree of homeless shows how so many social services have failed. And how are we going to pay for the homeless? Well, let's not shoot $120 million worth of rockets for a bullshit regime change war. You know, every time we show the military spending, give the numbers of what could help. If we cut the military budget in half, we could end poverty in this country. End it. End it. We could have free college tuition. We could have Medicare for all. You know, people say, how are you going to afford it? Like, there's plenty of senior citizens. Like, I really like Medicare. It's great. So, Jenny Lynn, if there is any upcoming actions to Reverend Barber's Poor People's Campaign, I will try to join it. You know, I've done stuff like beach cleanups. I'm doing, I think it's May 5th. There's this organization that does surfing for special needs kids, teaches them how to surf. So some podcast fans have reached out to me and I want to try to get involved. I've been too busy lately, but we got to help one another, man. And so, yes, thank you for bringing that up, Jenny Lynn, and I will try to be involved. A 1 and a 2. As a kid, Graham, did people tease you by calling Graham Cracker? Of course they did. Jesus Christ. Jenny Lynn, whatever you think of Reverend Barber, I think that continuing MLK Poor People's Movement is the promising and positive direction. We need to unite under the banner of class. Absolutely. Yeah. That's the thing. You know, we've talked about it before in the show. Dr. King was a socialist. He was all about class warfare. That's been sort of scrubbed from the history books, and he just sort of his I Have a Dream speech, which is a great speech, but there's so much more to him. And that's never discussed. So I'm all for any sort of compassion for people that are down on their luck or need help in any capacity. I'm all for it. Balthazar228, thanks for supporting the show. If Bernie had run the primary, no number of hashtag Buff Hillary memes would have caused him to lose. DNC, DCCC has given more money to HRC than to their candidates. Yeah. The same people that say, oh, Bernie wouldn't have won are the same people that think, you know, single payer or Medicare for all are pie in the sky. You know, they don't want to admit that Bernie would have won, because then that would admit that he was cheated. Hillary was the worst candidate ever. She ran a shitty campaign, and she's not electable because she's pro-war, pro-banking, pro-corporate. They think she's some feminist hero. Really? How many? Okay, she's a feminist hero for like privileged white women, but how many women of color did she fucking murder or kill their families in the Middle East with her bombing and everything as Secretary of State? It was her plan to overthrow Gaddafi in Libya, which now there's a power vacuum when you do that. And now there's like ISIS is in control of that country. There's open slave markets. So is that sex slaves run by ISIS? Is that good for women's rights? So I'm so tired of her being viewed like, so all of the accusers of Bill Cosby and Harvey Weinstein, those women are all correct. They're all telling the truth. But Bill Clinton's accusers in the 80s and 90s, they were all liars. And Hillary went after them as an attorney. Convenient. So Balthazar 228, the corruption of the DNC and the DCCC is very evident, and I like that WikiLeaks is releasing as much as they can whenever they get it, the Podesta emails. So I'm all for that, and thank you for supporting this show. Bluebell 51, but Graham, how will we maintain the current level of employment if we don't bomb brown people? Ask Wolf Blitzer. Oh yeah, if we get rid of the military, we lose all those military jobs. Gee, I wonder if we don't spend the money on military, if we spend it on infrastructure and green energy and helping people. I wonder if there's jobs in that. No, probably not. Good point, Wolf. Cyber Clue, exactly, Balthazar 228. And what about the bombshell that Ed Schultz interview about how MSNBC suppressed coverage of Bernie and fired Ed? I love that. I want to hear that. Yep. All these people, if you speak out against the war machine, if you speak out against capitalism, you're fired from the mainstream media. Fired, fired, fired. And if you're a sexual predator like those guys at Fox, you get fired for that too. Jenny Lynn, the Poor People's Movement, is calling for gains such as Medicare for all, living wage, etc. They seek to join black, white, brown, and a poor working class movement. That is the answer. Jenny Lynn, that's the answer. That unites everybody. Plantastic Life, thank you for supporting the show. How much of the extra $80 billion in military spending is going towards helping disabled and homeless veterans? Yeah, probably none. Plantastic Life. That's another thing. And this is a great thing when you talk about with conservatives who are like, wow, we need strong military. Say, we should be spending this more on veterans. There should be zero homeless vets. Zero. They should be getting treatment, training, jobs programs, reintegration, PTSD, all that stuff. They should be getting treatment for all of that stuff. And we don't need to, we outspend the next 7 countries combined. Combined. We could cut our military budget in half and still outspend Russia and China, right? And we would need military less, and because we wouldn't be bombing the Middle East and creating more terrorists. We also could put the military to use rebuilding, building the infrastructure, providing security for a solar farm in a third world country or something like that. I mean, instead of bombing it to destabilize the government to get the oil and the petrodollar in there. There's so many things we could be doing. So yeah, none of the 80 billion in military spending, to my knowledge, is going towards vets at all. Plantastic Life. It's disgusting. The military budget goes for the executives at Northrop Grumman and Raytheon and Boeing. It doesn't go for the vets. It doesn't go for the private and the corporals and the sergeants, the men and women who come back with prosthetic limbs or PTSD or just perfectly healthy, but they just serve their country. They don't get a bonus. The CEOs at those companies do. Jeremy Chase, there should be zero homeless, period. Yeah, in the richest country in the history of the world. Shelby Hall, I pay half my income to health premiums and student loans. Yep. C. Blaine, but Graham, the military is how they cull the poor. Yeah, that's why we have a poverty draft. We don't need a regular draft. Just there's no jobs in this country because we shipped them all out because of NAFTA and TPP and globalization. So you got to go fight for oil companies. Derek Robert, yesterday Fox News reported that 58% of homeless people have their own microwave. What? And even if they do, oh, they're living high on the hog. You think it's fun? If you think that's good, go live on the street, Sean Hannity, with a microwave and see how fun it is. Jesus. Shelby Hall, I treated addicts at a residential center, and vets were my favorite patients. They got good care but had to fight for it. Yeah, they did. They had to fight for it. Balthazar 228. I fear the only way to achieve change in the short term would be to make fiscal its cheaper arguments for M4A and homeless for vets by convincing the military industrial complex that more free money for war. Oh boy, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if that would work. I don't know. Chris Foster, what do you think of the Silicon Valley billionaires buying up land in New Zealand so they can hide away and live like feudal lords once the chaos starts? Oh, yeah. They're awful. The Silicon Valley people are awful. They're still billionaires. Just because they wear hoodies and drive Teslas doesn't mean they're still billionaires. They're just like, oh, society's going to collapse, so we're going to build up our little secret society and have our privilege. We're not going to help change it, which we absolutely could. We absolutely could as billionaires. We could change it. No, we're just going to make sure we have our private island. The New Zealand government should block them from buying land. That's what should happen. Yeah. Just shows you how awful they are. The Silicon Valley assholes could all get together and say, we're going to give away so much money to make this world and this country a better place. We're going to fix these problems. No, I want my billionaires, so I want to own my own jet and my own island, so fuck you. That's their thinking. Plantastic Life. Thank you for supporting the show. The sun is finally out here in upstate New York. Going to go for a nice walk. Thanks for a great show. Keep speaking truth to power. Thanks, man. Way to get outside, get some sun. Good for you. I have 1% of the viewers of Jimmy Dore's show from yesterday. Dominic, thanks for supporting the show. Have a great afternoon and enjoy your walk. Yeah, I got mine, so fuck you. That's the American way. David Wint, New Zealand billionaires are deluded. No escape from global warming. Exactly. Derek Robert, the American people need to get their priorities straight. They have Afghans, Iraqis, Syrians, Libya, Somalia to protect. Yeah. Ex-radical minds. Thoughts on the Federal Reserve. Ooh, boy. From what I know of the Federal Reserve, every president that's ever threatened to end it got assassinated. Sam Tripoli told me that when I was on his show, Tinfoil Hat, who's been a guest on this show a couple of times. Yeah, that's my thoughts on it. All right. One and two, you're good, Grandma. Foresee a day when you get far more viewers. Thanks, man. I'm trying. You know, the doing this FNX show has been so awesome. It took a lot of my time, so I couldn't put as much time into this. And I kind of had to kind of keep things like this versus really try to grow it. But now the show's ending in the next month and I'm going to have more time. And, you know, as I've talked about, I want to get a little studio. I want to get a video monitor and do more clips and stuff like that. And, but that, you know, that takes time and money, but I'm real happy with how this show is growing. Maybe it didn't grow at the rate that I'd like, but it's cool in this community that's been built and all of you showing up. It's been pretty awesome. So Balthazar 228. Jonas Salk would have been laughed out or sued in modern U.S. pharma state. There is no profit in creating cures. There is tremendous profit, in treatment. You're absolutely right. That's the thing. Like, how come we haven't had a cure in a while? Because the pharmaceutical companies don't want one. And that's the thing. The money that's spent on research and cures, it's not out there. So if you get a science degree, you graduate college, you could work for a think tank or something like that and make, 80 grand a year, or you can make $200,000 a year for a pharmaceutical company that owns the FDA. See, that's how they do it. So it's hard to say no to that, right? It would be hard to say no to $200,000 a year. Yeah. I mean, there's been WikiLeaks, if I'm not mistaken, that talked about pharmaceutical companies or whatever having cures and they're keeping them under wraps because that'll hurt business. Think about it. Boy, if we cure cancer, then we don't make money off all this cancer drugs and this chemotherapy. Well, there's all this money we make. We can't get rid of that. That's the thinking. There's no compassion in capitalism. There's just competition. It breeds us to fight against each other, to work against each other. Because I got to beat you to get your job and I need to get hired instead of you. That's what it does. I got to outperform you. That's what it breeds. So it's such a great point you made, Balthazar 228, that Jonas Salk would have been like fired or called a crackpot or something like that. Thanks for supporting the show. All right, where are we at? There's a bunch of things coming. Sometimes this thing is late. Whoops. Why is this not moving? Why is my thing not moving? Oh, there it is. No? Hold on, I gotta reset my live control room feed. Okay. Remember when the polio vaccine was made public for free? Thanks, Agent Dale Chomsky, for bringing that up. Good point. David Wint, Kyle Kalinske posted a video this week on the Goldman Sachs view. Curing disease is bad for business. Absolutely. Wizard John, greed is cultural. It can be replaced. Check out the new human rights movement, Peter Joseph. All right. Thuan Otaku, is there such a thing as compassionate capitalism? Probably not. Jimmy Subs took off when the CNN smear and it was raining money on him yesterday. Yeah, I know. Okay. The new human rights movement, absolutely. You should reschedule with Jimmy. Yeah, I'm going to try to for sure. Compassionate capitalism is known as democratic socialism. What else do we got here? James P.W. Martin, I thought I liked Jimmy Dore because he's a progressive, anti-war truth teller, but it turns out I'm an extreme left Nazi sympathizer. Thanks. Yeah, we're all left-wing Nazi sympathizer, conspiracy wingnuts. I guess that's who we are. Dan Howell, I believe free market anti-capitalism is the answer. Balthazar 228, thank you for supporting the show. Will you cover inevitable Monsanto attempt at genetically engineering and cross-infecting all of pot in order to monopolize through patent lawsuits. Oh yeah, I know. Monsanto has to be. They have been thinking about getting into the pot business if they aren't already for a while. So, yeah, and the pharmaceutical companies, since they can't block it, they're probably just going to start growing these massive corporate farms and screw people over and charge exorbitant amounts of money for weed, and people will just grow it on their own. I would like to do some more stuff on Monsanto. I need to find some more solid articles and research on Monsanto to talk about them. I've done a little bit on Monsanto, but Balthazar 228, I absolutely will, because yeah, they'll do everything they'll do everything that you're saying, if they haven't already been doing it. If they haven't already started in Colorado or California or Washington or any of the states that already have sort of medical marijuana legalized or recreational marijuana that's legal, they're going to go after it that way, for sure. It's a great point, Balthazar 228. Bluebell 51, Graham, we have to get CNN to smear you next. Yes, I wish my show was more smearable. Some wingnut alt-right sympathizer that surfs with Putin and has a crazy blue light shining on his insanity. He prays to a bat-like creature. He's an insane man. Graham Elwood is out of his gourd. Yeah. He's a Putin surfing weirdo who's a Nazi sympathizer. They just throw all of them out there, you know. The thing that you gotta, you know, and I've said this to Jimmy, if they're gonna, you know, be ready for some crazy accusations against him. You know, that's what they're gonna try to do too. Yeah, that's one of their ways of smearing is just make some crazy accusation. You know, some investigation. That's all you need is an investigation to have people go, oh, maybe this person's not good. Even if it bears no fruit, there's no evidence, there's no nothing, just you were investigated. So you were suspect. You're suspect. What other questions do we have here? Stable Genius Progressive. Those open markets with fish, fruit, and other goods, people pay money for that stuff, right? It's not all shared. That's what happens naturally. Currency has been around for thousands of years. Yeah, but things need to be regulated. You know, you have to regulate stuff. And when you just then unregulated capitalism it's where we're at now. You know, and I don't know if it's full on socialism, I don't know. I'm not economist. Not a great sentence. This page just keeps locking up here. Stable Genius Progressive. To be fair, though, you can obviously point to some forms of socialism that don't work well and are horrible. Yeah, anything can be corrupted if people involved or it's just poorly run. I mean, the Soviet Union was not communism or socialism. It was the party members were in charge and they lived high on the hog and the people didn't. I mean, absolute power corrupts. Absolutely. Dan Howell, Somalia is a problem because the world insists it has a modern style government. So many factions are warring over who to control that government. Good point. Balthazar 228. Yeah, Graham isn't a money surgeon. No, I'm not a money surgeon. Jenny Lynn, it's not the socialism that didn't work. You have to provide the true context in which the system was applied and the external forces seeking to influence it. Yeah, that's a good point. Agent Dale Chomsky, do you think there's hope in the Korean War peace talks? Yes, I do. South Korea wants peace. South Korea does not want a war on its peninsula. It has American military bases. They don't want them there. They don't want that. North Korea doesn't want a war. They don't want to get blown off the map by our wingnut crazy military. They don't want that. So that's they don't I do have hope. I think they're like, holy shit. The US and Trump are so fucking insane. We better actually come to peace. The United States is in Somalia to get that oil. Absolutely. Somalia is a basket case because that's what the Saudis want. Yep. We do not have a money deficit. We have a morals deficit. Yeah, we got both. I'd say it's not brain surgery, but Ben Carson forever changed that phrase for me. Oh, is my feed breaking up? Are you guys hearing the feed okay? Is anyone else having problems? Dan Howell, true capitalism is a myth, so is true socialism or true communism. Yeah, that's true. Oh, my feed's been lagging a little bit? Ooh. Dewan Otaku, in Vietnam, we value culture and tradition and open market, but somehow they blatantly use communism education system in the middle of the daylight. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Communism, when it comes in, it's usually used as just a form of power and control over its citizens. It's not, no one in power is usually doing, where rarely, not no one, but oftentimes people in power are not doing it from a philanthropic or benevolent stance. They're doing it from power and control and money. And how can we best control these people? Not how can I best take care of my people? That's what a true leader is. I'm in charge. How do I take care of these people? People are looking to me. What's best for all of my citizens? How do we make everybody's lives better? Is anyone saying that? Is anyone saying that? Shelby Hall, health, prisons, and education should never be for profit. Yep. Gungamar, the Soviet Union was an implementation of right-wing Marxism. There's an interview with Bertrand Russell, who apparently he called this fact to Lenin's own face. Wow. Jesus and his followers were communists. Derek Robert, the U.S. Human Rights Report yesterday was so hypocritical and ironic. Oh, God, it's unbelievable. We have the audacity to take a moral high ground on human rights issues? Wow. I mean, we use chemical weapons. We use tear gas against our own people. We pollute the water. We put pipelines over people that say they don't want it and shoot water at them and tear gas and everything else. We use the military police against our own people. We make people have to crowdfund. People file for bankruptcy because of medical costs. We make you work to the bone. We have a gig economy. We have a crumbling infrastructure. We have parts of this country that are in third world conditions, according to the United Nations. We have contaminated water. I mean, we bomb the Middle East. We've killed so many people on any given day. I mean, Trump has sent more rockets than Obama, and Obama sent 26,171 rockets in 2016 alone. 1 year. That was 1 year. How many people did he kill? How many human rights atrocities did Obama commit? How many people die every day in Yemen as a direct result of Obama and Trump? It's preposterous. Balthazar 228. I wonder how the religious right will react once they find out their savior was a short, curly-haired, brown Middle Eastern Jew named Josh. Well, yeah, that's so much thing about the hardline Christians is they're pretty racist. It's like there's no way a man from that part of the world had blonde hair and blue eyes. There's no way. It's described in the Bible that he was a black man. Yeah, and he was a socialist and he was about helping the poor. That's what drives me crazy when the Christian right is like, give me mine. Like, you're not going to heaven unless you should be helping the poor people. You shouldn't have a private jet or go golfing at Mar-a-Lago, or you should be helping the poor. So the religious right is aware of that, Balthazar 228. They're just in complete denial. They just refuse to acknowledge it. They know it's true, though. Thanks for supporting the show. Where are we at? Phil Britton, the ranks of homeless are swelling across the country. It's starting to look a lot like Depression-era America 1930s. Yeah, and it's going to get worse. There's just going to be homeless encampments and people living in their cars and tent cities. There's going to be all over the country, man. Basil Peterson, Graham, do you think the elephant in the room is our species being uneducated and everyone wanting to be like Americans is suicidal for 7 billion humans? Yeah, absolutely. If 7 billion people all want the luxuries of American life, there just isn't. We are plundering this Earth's resources, and we can't sustain 7 billion people this way. If the whole world was working on an aggregate culture, on an agricultural system, we could probably do it. But what scares me is the deep war to get rid of. That's what's scary to me, that they actually would think that. They are thinking it. Someone said that in some awful boardroom or the Pentagon. Somebody said that. So it's pretty crazy. Yes, the homeless problem in Los Angeles is out of control. Now, I've talked about this before, but they did pass, I think it was Measure H, in November of 16. It's taken some time, but they're spending a lot of money to fix the homeless problem in Los Angeles. And I really, a couple year, 2, 3, 4 years from now, we'll see if it has a pretty positive effect. I think it will, but I don't know if there's another massive recession and then 1 million people are homeless. So I don't know. We'll see. But Jeremy Chase, I told someone yesterday that our society is greedy as a whole. Just drive through any new subdivision. We consume far more than we need. Human, can you make an autonomous sensory meridian response ASMR gentle whispering, Graham? Is that where I go, hi, how are you? I'm just here. Is that one of those things? I'm not sure I know what that is. Spirit 646, the Pentagon is planning for climate change despite Trump. Oh yeah, the Pentagon has been mapping out for climate change for over 10 and 15 years because they see it's happening and they see it's destabilizing governments. All right, guys, I got to wrap up here soon and drive to the Sound Mixer studio to finish episode 8 of the FNX Comedy Experience, which premieres next Friday at 9 p.m. That's weird. I did not see the black guy that disarmed the murderer at Waffle House this weekend. All right. Balthazar 226, come to NYC with Ron. That might happen. I have to come to New York City to do some promotional stuff the end of May, and I'm going to see if I can hook up a show there somewhere, and maybe Ron will come with me. But I'm gonna look into that, and I'm looking to come to. There's a couple clubs. The Zanies in Nashville said they would give me a night, so if I can build some other shows around in that area, then maybe Ron and I will do a little tour through that part. But it's happening. Basil Patterson, we got to get back to the garden, folks. Namaste. You're not a reptile. Please fit a sail to your car just in case. David Lazarus, sea level rises will force closures of many U.S. bases. Yeah, it's a real thing. Dan Howell, any update in the podcast festival? I don't know. I don't know yet about that. So you guys are fantastic. Let me thank all of you wonderful progressive super chatters. David Lazarus, thank you for supporting the show. I beg your pardon. Basil Peterson, Shelby Hall. Marcia Smith, hope your house gets fixed. David Went, Shelby Hall again. Rob Swenick, Balthazar228. Balthazar228 again, Plantastic Life. Jenny Lynn, Sexist Burn Bro, Balthazar228. Plantastic Life again. David Lazarus, Plantastic Life a third or fourth time. Balthazar228. Balthazar228 again. Goes in for the hat trick late in the show. Balthazar228. You guys are awesome, man. I love doing this show. Thank you for being flexible with me in my times. By the time we get into the end of May, I'll be back to more of a stable time when I super chat. But if you follow me at Graham Elwood, that's my Instagram and Twitter. I post that the morning of that I'm gonna do one of these super chats. So you guys are awesome, and I love all of your John Hiscock jokes that you're making. So you guys are great. Pat Hiscock, whatever. So thank you so much. Here is there's my Twitter handle. You sort of like the unstable Graham. Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching the show. Please go to the Patreon. You get a lot of awesome bonus content there. That's a great way to support the show. Patreon.com/Graham Elwood. Make sure you're subscribed. They've been unsubscribing us. And make Gotham great again. Follow the creepy finger.